My name is Gina Clifford. I'll be presenting about the steps in the selection process as both the interviewer and the interviewee. Being selected for a job is an exciting part of life, and there are several components to it from both the point of view of the employee and the employer. Getting an interview from a company may often take a while after you submit your application. The process of being hired is often lengthy and requires a lot of follow-up. It is important to stay patient during this process. Before you're even considered for an interview, the employer is going to carefully look at your application. You should be sure that your application outlines your qualifications so that you'll stand out to the employer. A key factor, an eye-catching resume is a key factor to getting called in for an interview. It's also important for the company to do a job analysis. They should review the role and decide if there are any changes required, as certain tasks and responsibilities performed by the previous person may or may not be performed by the new person. To fill a position, you must know where you're going to look for qualified employees. Again, it's important to post an accurate job description so that the candidate knows what they're going to be doing. Many employers look to sites like Indeed, Monster, or Career Builder. After you carefully review all the applicants, it's time to bring a few in for an interview. The first interview is often the most important. This is because first impressions are key. The key to a successful interview and selection process is a lot of planning on both ends. Planning helps you to learn the necessary information about the applicant, while at the same time you can avoid legal pitfalls of the interview process. As the interviewee, you want to make sure that you have positive body language. The way that you carry yourself can affect whether you get hired or not. You should also be prepared for any questions that you believe will be asked about the position. The more you practice, the better it will go. As the interviewer, it's really important to be respectful. It's a good idea to ask behaviorally based questions. It's also a good idea to have a notepad with you to jot down different things about each candidate. Doing this can help you compare the candidates so you can rule them out. Another important part of the selection process is doing reference checks on the candidates. This way you can talk to previous employers and see whether they had a positive or negative experience with them. Doing this can also help to rule out candidates. Depending on the company and the position, you may be subject to different tests as the applicant. These can include drug tests, physical tests, personality or cognitive tests, and the results of these tests can help you as the company rule candidates out. Background checks are another important part of the selection process. This is the best way to get to know your candidate before actually bringing them in for the interview. Through these, you can rule out those with unwanted criminal history or those who just aren't qualified. After you choose 2 or 3 final candidates, a lot of companies will bring you in for a second interview. This allows the company to get a clearer vision of who they're hiring, and you can ask questions that fill in the gaps of your first interview. As the interviewee, it's always a good idea to send a thank you note. This can be done through phone or email or an actual letter. Doing this is simple, and it can often give you a leg up on other candidates that did not. After you carefully rule out candidates, it's time to choose one to fill the position. You can let them know through either phone or email. During this offer, you should let them know their benefits and salary. You should also make your offer enthusiastic so that they're excited to come work for your company. It can be very exciting to be the one getting the job offer. During your acceptance, you should be brief but yet express gratitude for the company. You want to make sure you're excited and you make them feel like they won't regret hiring you. Reflecting on the interview and the selected candidate is important. Wait a few months or so to determine if you made the right choice for the company. If the person you hired is not the best fit for the position, you should make changes to your interview process accordingly. If you are the one that got the job offer, it is important to take note of what you did well. This way you can do the same things within your next interview. Realizing your strengths can help you become more confident about the whole interview process. If you did not get the job, it's important to stay confident and not be too hard on yourself. Another opportunity is bound to come your way. This will give you time to practice and prepare more for your interview and do mock interviews. You will eventually find the company that you're supposed to work at. In conclusion, the selection process is lengthy and detailed for both the interviewer and the interviewee. As the interviewer, it is important to select the best possible person for the position, and as the interviewee, it is important to practice and be patient.